It's greed, grifts, and grabs, the Trump Corruption Chronicles. We begin with an example of the pay-to-play mentality of the most corrupt administration in American history. More corrupt than Warren Harding's Teapot Dome payoffs, more corrupt than the Nixon years, which was combined with Vice President Agnew's cash-only bribery that forced him out of office. This example is one of dozens. It's based in Michigan, where $320 million in goods move every day between the United States and Canada via the Ambassador Bridge linking Detroit with Windsor, Ontario. Ready to expand options for shippers in that area, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, a second connector between Detroit and Windsor. The story of this corruption was outlined by someone who knows the details very intimately, the former Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg.
Let's be super clear about what happened. There's already a bridge. There's the old bridge. Someone makes a lot of money of that old bridge being the only bridge. That person put $1 million into a pro-Trump super PAC and got a hold of Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary. And I don't know what else happened. Maybe something went into the ballroom. Maybe something went into crypto. I don't know. But I know at least the fact pattern that I just described. And sure enough, the President of the United States is suddenly blocking a piece of infrastructure that is economically important to the country, to the state, and to the region. It is as simple as that. It is corruption. And I would expect and hope every Republican and every Democrat in this state and in this region will be equally full-throated about demanding that that corrupt reason be dismantled and that that bridge be opened. The craziest thing about this is that Mexico was never going to pay for the wall, but Canada actually paid for the bridge.
Also on our corruption bulletin board this week, a massive Defense Department loan given to a startup company, a company which conveniently is partially owned by Donald Trump Jr. The massive $620 million grift was first exposed by ProPublica. Reporter Robert Federici detailed the grift on MS Now.
Don Jr.'s venture capital firm invested in a small North Carolina startup. Then within 3 months, it became public that the Defense Department was going to be loaning this same company upwards of $600 million. This deal was specifically requested by a top aide to the president himself.
The request to loan hundreds of millions of dollars to the firm linked to Trump Jr. was made by Peter Navarro, a White House advisor to President Donald Trump and a friend of Trump Jr.'s. The call came from the White House. "We have to get this done," the person said. Navarro, like Daddy Donald, is a convicted criminal. He spent 4 months in prison for defying 2 congressional subpoenas, but he's back in the White House after his time out in Club Fed. As for Jr. and his brother, they have no problems claiming their last name has nothing to do with the good fortune of companies in their growing portfolio. No, only Hunter Biden does something like that. Hunter is a crook. They're just patriotic Americans doing it all for Uncle Sam.
You've said a few times you're not in the government, but obviously your father is president. And a lot of people see your investments in companies like SpaceX, which is trying to get FAA contracts and approvals. You're in defense companies as well. And they wonder if this is just crony capitalism.
Not at all. We stay totally out of that. We don't get involved in that. These are things that make sense for America. They're common sense investments. We don't have to call the government to invest in something that's beneficial to America. That's the entire ethos of what we've been doing.
Another new company backed by Jr.'s money is Unusual Machines, which is a new entry into the military drone business. Shares of drone makers and suppliers rallied last month after a report said the Trump administration is exploring potential funding deals with a group of companies to increase domestic production and lower costs. Unusual Machines closed up 57% for an all-time high. Good money for Jr. In March, Arias Greenway, a golf club company on whose board Jr. and baby bro Eric serve, announced it would merge with defense company PowerUs. Just weeks later, PowerUs announced it would sell the interceptor drones to the Pentagon for the war in Iran that supposedly was over on the first day. Another new company backed by Jr.'s money is Unusual Machines, which is a new entry into the military drone business. Shares of drone makers and suppliers rallied last month after a report said the Trump administration is exploring potential funding deals with a group of companies to increase domestic production and lower costs. Unusual Machines closed up 57% for an all-time high. Good money for Junior. Don Jr. is also on the advisory board of Polymarkets, the largest of the prediction markets, and a strategic advisor to Kalshi, which is number 2. Both companies have had problems with what appears to be a handful of clients making massive profits about White House actions in their predictions. Coincidentally, Daddy Trump is opposing efforts to regulate the Wild West world of prediction markets, despite those widespread reports of manipulation of the markets by clients with insider information. Go figure. Our final grift for this edition: Trump's manipulation of the U.S. Treasury to stage a combination birthday party and campaign rally for himself. The 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence should, by all reasonable standards, be a nonpartisan celebration for the entire country. That was the intention of Congress a decade ago when it created America 250. The honorary co-chairs are George W. Bush and Laura Bush, along with Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Bipartisan, though, is one of Donald Trump's most hated words. It's hard to grift when you don't have total control, so he created, by executive order, Freedom 250, a private and oh-so-secretive operation that he controls totally. He took control of the 250th celebration by financially starving the bipartisan official commission. Turns out the congressionally created operation is broke, telling Congress it has a $100 million funding shortfall, according to a document obtained by notice. America 250 had received only $25 million of the $100 million it expected from the Trump administration as of April, and less than anticipated from other sources as well, according to that commission report. Apparently, the other revenue was diverted to Freedom 250, which was created under the Salute to America 250 task force, which Trump established through an executive order shortly after he took office to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the nation's founding. It is a tax-deductible charitable corporation, meaning its finances are a secret, but it accepts huge tax-deductible gifts from anyone who wants to make Donald Trump happy. It's setting up multiple events to star and/or humor Donald Trump, beginning with that UFC fight on what used to be the White House lawn, with reports that it's selling special fight packages for $1 million or more, and inviting a lot of military personnel as long as they're young and not fat. Of course, the package features FaceTime with Trump, who apparently has promised to stay awake during most of those meetings. Who gets the money? We may never know, because they don't have to tell us. Trump's party planners are off to a great start managing events. Freedom 250 is the bunch that set up the now-defunct series of concerts, which were supposed to feature a lineup of performers who were popular decades ago. In the case of Milli Vanilli founding member Rob Pilatus, he won't be performing because he's been dead for 28 years. Can't make it. And Donald Trump has still another way to skim money to pad his already fat corruption bank balance. On the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1826, both Presidents John Adams and Thomas Jefferson passed away. Back then, there were no organized celebrations of the nation's anniversary. Beginning in 1876, there have been nonpartisan observances in 50-year intervals. In each case, none of them turned a profit for the president. That would be Ulysses Grant, Calvin Coolidge, and Jerry Ford. Of course, that's all changing as the nation turns 250. Drift away, Donald.
Give me the box, boys, and feed my soul. I wanna get rich through my suckers, troll and grift away.